Welcome to The Finer Things. In case you missed it, last week we put out an episode of our podcast where we took a look at the makings of a fine dining experience as well as the third part of defining the audiophile lexicon. But what are we doing this week?
This week we'll be doing an episode of The Finest Things, which is a show where we talk about something that offers top-grade performance irrespective of price. And our subject this week is the REL S812 subwoofer.
Let's jump in. So the REL S812. Tell me a bit about REL.
So, REL was founded in 1990 by Richard Edmund Lord in Brig-End, England, and the idea of the company is that they only produce subwoofers. It's all they do, and they even went out of their way to acquire a cabinet maker called Oakwood, which makes their cabinets and for other people as well. But whole point being, they're very, very oriented on only making subwoofers to a very, very high level of quality. They have a cult-like following, and they offer state-of-the-art performance. In 2005, they were acquired by John Hunter, formerly of Sumiko, and from there the brand had kind of changed a bit from their origins to offer something a little bit higher output and really develop these really, really fast crossovers and filters to make this lightning-fast sort of bass that REL is known for.
I never really thought of us as cult members, but now I feel like that. Especially the way we baited each other into both getting a pair of a REL S812s delivered on the same day. Actually, as it turned out,
funny for sure. And you know, the fact that we're pretty committed to getting more is just.
It's now I really am thinking about the cult-like nature of it. So no, listen to me; they sound really good. But no, we'll get to that.
Yeah. How about the aesthetics?
Yeah, I mean, and that's obviously a big draw of it. There are some great sounding audio products out there that are hideous. REL products, not one of them.
No.
This super sharp, high gloss piano black of the cabinet. Yes, the REL logo with the crown and all that on the front, you could view it as a little tacky. It's not the most tasteful design choice in the world. But you know what? You have a badass sub and you're proud of it. I know I am. I look at that thing and I think it looks awesome. When I'm listening to a track and I see that REL logo just like ready to jump out and bite me, yeah, no, I'm on board with that.
Oh yeah.
And same thing for the REL logo on the top. This little sort of metal badge. I'm looking at one right there.
Oh yeah.
The design of the rails, especially relative to the feet of the previous model, the S5, which I'm actually getting rid of mine. The S812 has a huge upgrade, both in terms of sort of like physical performance as well as aesthetics with those rails over the feet. They seem not to vibrate nearly as much, and they're also they're sexy, and it's just big, honking, but streamlined piece of metal. Huge fan of the overall aesthetic. But outside of aesthetic, obviously there are performance features. So why don't you tell me about those?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the REL S812 features a forward-firing 12-inch active powered driver with a downward-firing passive radiator that is also 12 inches in size. And those rails are more than just for aesthetics. They're actually designed so that you can stack multiple units on top of each other. REL actually calls their reference bass arrays 2 stacks of 3 for a total of 6 woofers. I'm really considering doing that myself. So that system is powered by an 800 watt Class D Next Gen 3 amplifier, which is a 300 watt increase over the previous generation, the S5 SHO, and there's special connectivity when it comes to pretty much any REL subwoofer that's out there. And I guess it's kind of important to go over, I think, relative to other subwoofers, it's kind of unique. And it's called high pass. Essentially, on one end, it's bare wire, and on the other end is a special type of connector called a Nutrix Speak-On connector, which is a very, it's very nifty the way that it kind of slides in and clicks into place, and is kind of held there. There's really not much of a chance of that getting disconnected.
Yeah, which is why they're used more in like a professional environment. Yeah,
definitely. And then on the other end, depending on what kind of amplifier you have, you wire it up. But it's essentially you're wiring it directly to the amplifier terminals. You are not wiring it to the preamplifier or a pre-out section. And the whole idea is that the subwoofer takes on the character of whatever amplifier it's connected to, and it's also receiving the signal at the same time that your speakers are, which allows for better time alignment. And that's the whole idea with the REL woofer is to be able to seamlessly blend with whatever products you have, but at the same time, it's taking on that same character of the system that you already have, which is really cool.
That moves on, pretty much straight away into the our more subjective, opinionated take on them.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with the philosophy because obviously it's working. The tonal characteristics of the amp definitely sort of coming through the speak-on allow the sub to just dissolve away into the system, even with, tiny 2.5 inch driver speakers. If that's in frame.
If it's in frame, I hope it is.
It's a speaker about this big. For the yucks, and I think we'll feature this in a future video. That would definitely be a Tom Finery type of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
But even with those speakers, these subs were relatively able to blend, which is hilarious. It shouldn't even make sense now.
We had those turned up pretty good too.
Yeah. These little tiny Sony CAS1 speakers. They don't have like a specific name because they're part of a little desktop system, but want power. But were they being overpowered by the RELs? Yeah, obviously. But the reality was the fact that the RELs were of such phenomenal quality in terms of disappearing into the room, in terms of the speed. It's hilarious that they're even capable of doing that.
Yeah, and I will say that even with large speakers, the RELs were just like the dynamic range was absolutely incredible, and like Ahmed was saying, they disappear into the room. They vibrate though every molecule of air in the room, and they do so in such a way that it is just like the speakers are allowed to do exactly what it is that they need to do, and the RELs are kind of an extension of that, but it's just like you get this impact, you get this just like absolute I don't even know.
There were things.
It's just like it added excitement to everything. It didn't matter which speaker we tried several different speakers. Every single one, it added absolute like a tremendous amount of just like foot tapping, like absolute amazement and mesmerizing quality. It was unreal.
We demoed these subs with those tiny little speakers we just talked about. $150 Sony bookshelves, the Core Series entry-level bookshelf speakers, which keep your eye out. We are going to have a video coming up about them because they're pretty cool.
Yep.
We paired them with both the KEF Q150s and Q350s. So $600 and $700 respectively.
Yep.
And then also my sort of main towers here, the Sony SSNA2ESs, which still retail for $10,000 for the pair. So a huge range of driver design, total speaker concepts, and physical size differences. And the RELs were phenomenal. They added something beyond really what I even expected them to add, especially with my main speakers, where we just set up this listening room in my house, and so we demoed the Sonys, the larger Sony towers. First, without the subs, and to get a point of reference, and then just to listen a bit for fun. And, it was fun, it was spatial, they're great speakers, so obviously it sounded pretty good.
Pretty good bass already.
Yeah, especially for a room this size, and it's not huge. So I was really just expecting the excitement level, the pressurization of the room to go up, and obviously those things did. But what also happened in like the strangest way, because you expect this sometimes if we were like adjusting a crossover on the amp, we're not. The speaker's still getting a full range signal. The speaker's doing exactly the same things it was before because of that high pass signal that the REL takes.
Oh yeah.
But ultimately, the sense of space, the overall dramatic nature that the speakers were able to deliver, the real sense of, yes, being closer to the music, the typical sort of audiophile thing to say, but for certain tracks being like, holy cow, I felt like I was in a listening, an intimate listening environment, maybe like a bar or something, and then all of a sudden I felt like I was in a moderate-sized stadium for certain tracks.
Yeah.
There was a ton of things about specifically the spaciousness and the pinpoint accuracy of the sound that the RELs added that I was not even expecting.
Definitely. So let me ask, is it a good value?
$6,000 for 2 subs is not an unsubstantial amount of money. However, having demoed, 15 or 20 different pretty nice subwoofers from many, many different brands with many different styles at lots of different price points, I have to say yes, only because, look, specifically with subwoofers, typically you can get fast and articulate, but relatively quiet and not able to pressurize for a reasonable sum of money, like sub $1,000. You can also get really loud and pressurized and fun at the expense of speed and musical characteristics. Again, really good values, under $1,000. But when you marry those two, that's when you get something special, and that's when you end up paying so much. So is it an inexpensive product? Is it a budget-oriented product? Obviously not. But does it offer truly class-leading performance?
Have your cake and eat it too.
And unfortunately, you do have to pay a pretty penny for that, but you end up with a gorgeous, piece of furniture, a statement piece, but more than that. You take all the efforts you've done with the rest of your system and you take it to the next level in terms of getting closer to the music.
Absolutely.
But thanks for watching, guys. If you're enjoying the content, let us know. Hop in the comments. Please like the video. Subscribe. If you do subscribe, make sure you tap that bell. We say it on repeat, but if you want to be notified to the videos, that's the way to do it. We are also on Facebook, Instagram,
and Twitter.
Even though our Twitter account definitely sucks, but take a look at it because we do post some. We're going to try to be a bit more active on there. But the Instagram and the Facebook are already awesome. If you want to see some cool behind the scenes stuff, some peeks into the
world of
senseless meanderings of us two. Please do. We're so happy to share the things we love with you guys. But I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we've done it. Guys, take care.